All right. We are back in Belmar on this beautiful day, and we have a very special guest on. We have Daniela on, who is a life and career coach. Good morning. How are you today?
I am nervous-sighted, as my daughter likes to say.
Nervous-sighted. I never heard that one, but by the time you leave, you're just going to be excited, and you're not going to be nervous anymore. So, how are you today?
I'm excited for this conversation. It's going to be great. Thank you for having me.
You got it. So, how did you find us?
So I actually found you through a referral.
Oh, good.
A colleague I've gotten to know, Chris DeMeo, came on your podcast, had great reviews. And
He's great. He's a great guy.
Oh, he's amazing.
He's a Belmar guy.
Yes, he is, and he's doing some amazing things, and he's got an incredible business growing. And so I was thrilled when he said, "Hey, you should get on this podcast too."
That's great. He's a super nice guy, and he brought his book in one day to Belmar.
Yeah.
I was like, I want to be on the podcast. It's like, let's do it. I read the book. It's and he cares so much about customer service.
It's incredible.
Oh, he understands marketing and customer service and how people want to be treated.
Yeah, he's got incredible experience, and it shows, and the care that he takes with his customers.
Yep, I love that white glove approach that he has.
Absolutely.
So that's great. I'm glad that he connected you to me and you got on the podcast, and I feel like you're a little less nervous than when you first walked in. We'll work off the nervous scale today. So 3 years in business, congratulations.
Thank you so much. Yeah, it's exciting. It's been a whirlwind. I like to say it's been the most uncomfortable and yes, most fulfilling 3 years of my professional
So let's
career.
kind of dig into that, because a lot of people that work in corporate America, like you came from, are nervous. You know, when you work in corporate America, there's different challenges, like we talked about before we got started today. You know, again, I worked in corporate America 15 years ago, and it's different. Like, you show up every day. As long as you show up and kind of do your job, you're gonna stay employed until now. Like, I feel like now the world has changed with AI and with corporate layoffs every kind of quarter, but to meet the Wall Street numbers. But for the most part, like, you do your job and you kind of stay employed.
Yeah, I think there's usually structure. There are usually expectations, job descriptions, and just a standard kind of corporate ladder that you follow for the most part. And there's certainly deviations that you can take, but there is that structure that keeps you going, and it's almost like just follow the path that's already in front of you.
And there's people that have been in it ahead of time, so you could kind of look at someone's progression and be like, okay, if I do this, I do this.
Exactly.
Here's my next steps, and
Yep.
you know, this person's going to retire in a few years, and you're looking for that promotion.
Yeah, and ideally you have a manager who's a really strong mentor who's also saying, okay, here's what you're doing really well, and here are some things that you need to work on, some opportunities to get you to the next level. And so you've got that mentorship already built in. And
Yep.
all of those things are not built into entrepreneurship. You have to create them for yourself.
For the most part, none of that's good. But I do think that coming from a corporate background gives you a foundation. I feel like for myself, like, I had a foundation. I knew kind of when I first started, like, all right, these are the things that worked in corporate America. So kind of start with those and then kind of build upon it. But I think you have to look outside the box too, because every day is a little bit different being an entrepreneur.
Absolutely. I think there are different decisions that I have to make on a daily basis. And, you know, we were talking about discomfort a minute ago. It comes down to, do I want to stay comfortable? Do I want to stay in my lane, let's call it, and continue doing what I'm doing? Or do I want to blow my mind with what I'm capable of? And I think when you sign up to be an entrepreneur, that's what you get, right? I'm sure you're blowing your mind every day with the things that you're creating, the people that you're meeting.
And it's different. Like, and I think you have to have goals, and I think you have to have kind of some reality. And, you know, as an I was always an entrepreneur. I worked in corporate America, but I was an entrepreneur before. Like,
Yeah.
you know, again, my parents were very conservative. Go get an education, go get a job. You know, they were on that path. So like, I remember the day I said, I had a nice job. I worked for Verizon Communications at the end, Fortune 10 company, or Fortune probably 20 company at this point. And I said, I'm going to quit my job. And my mom was like, you work from home, and this before work from home was a thing. She goes, You work from home, you don't go to an office, you get paid very well. what are you doing? And I was like, I think I could do more. I think I could do it better. I think that people work in corporate America, they just work slow. They don't, I want to solve problems. And I was, I was 30 years old. I wasn't married yet. I didn't have really a lot of bills. I had, just had a payment. I had living expenses, but I mean, it wasn't crazy. And I figured if I failed, worst comes to worst, I go back into corporate America. So I didn't think that I had a failing point. I was like, oh, if I fail, I go get a job again and do what I was doing in marketing and sales, and I would be fine. So I really didn't have there was no real failure. So it was like, let's just get it figured out. And then little by little, I figured it out. And little by little, I got more customers. And little by little, I was getting referrals.
Yeah.
And 15 years later, here we are.
That's a great story. It's interesting that you share that, though, because I had almost not a totally opposite experience, but I actually grew up with entrepreneurs.
Oh.
And I didn't, they didn't call themselves entrepreneurs because that's not what you called in their generation. But my father is an amazing mason, and he started his business over 20 years ago. My mom is a housekeeper, so she's always had to get her own clients just on her own. And my sister, as they got older, they always had these kind of side hustles and projects that they were doing. And now they also have their own business where they make custom handmade home goods from resin and wood, and that's going really well.
That's
so
awesome.
I was actually surrounded by entrepreneurs, and for me, it was never a
You were the
discussion.
last one to the
It was
game.
like, nope, it's not for me. I don't have the personality for it. I like to be in the background, and so it wasn't something that I just went down the corporate path. That was really the only option that I saw, and it wasn't until I had my second daughter and I was working, and I kind of felt like just my life wasn't where I wanted it to be. It kind of felt like I wasn't giving 100% in any area of my life, not as a leader at work, not as a mom, not as a wife or sister, all the roles that are important for me. And I found my own life coach changed everything. And
That's great that you seek that person out. Because
yes.
otherwise you could have gone years and just been not 100% anywhere and just been struggling with that. So
Yeah. And I think what's important about that, I think why that happens, Tom, is I think, and I think we're now doing a better job of talking about it, but honestly, I think the reason why that happens is because, particularly as women, we think, well, there's just something wrong with me. I'm doing something wrong. Everyone else's life is curated and perfect because that's what I see on Instagram.
Which is the furthest thing from the truth.
But it's like, so there's something wrong with me, so I just want to hide it, and I'm just going to keep to myself, and I'm just going to keep chugging along. And those are the women that I want to help, right? It's like, I promise you it's not just you. We all experience it, and they deserve the help.
The hard part is you only get one time around this, on this planet and on this earth. So, like, you don't want to waste so much time. Like, I would hate to be in a place where I didn't enjoy what I was doing every day.
Yeah.
Again, I have some hard days. There's some days where I want to, strangle somebody. But on the other side is, though, I wouldn't trade this for anything. And I couldn't imagine going into an office and just hating being there every day.
Yeah.
And then knowing that I wasn't fulfilling in other areas of my life.
Absolutely. I think you're spot on. I think particularly as a mom, it's hard to get to that point because we live for our kids.
Yep.
And so the idea of taking a risk, like starting our own business or doing some sort of career transition or taking, potentially even getting promoted, which could mean then less time with our kids, it's hard to see that path. And really what I help my clients see is that if you follow your dreams, you're actually doing it for your kids.
Yep.
You're showing them that because I could tell I have two girls, I can tell them all day long, hey, go after your dreams, dream big, do the hard thing, be uncomfortable, take risks. But if they don't see mom doing it, they're not going to feel compelled to. They're going to be like, that's just all talk. It's not real.
It's a great
I
way
have
to
to
think
do it
about
for them.
Yeah. And you have to show them kind of like, when you go out of your comfort zone.
Yeah. I told them I was coming here today, and I was like, I am nervous this is going to be scary. And they pumped me up. They were so
How
excited.
old are they?
They are 14 and 10.
And they were like cheering you on
They
this morning?
were so excited, Tom. I can't even tell
You
you.
know what we're going to do when we end? We're going to take a picture and then we'll put it on Instagram today so when you go home you could show them.
Oh my gosh,
And,
they're gonna
and be
love
like,
that.
hey, listen, this is where I was at Wingman today.
They're gonna love it.
That's great.
Yeah.
So 3 years ago, you're like, I gotta make a change. So what happened?
Yeah, so it was something I'd been thinking about for several years. It was this question I had in my head: what if I could coach full time? Because I was coaching people in my HR role. It was part of my job is coaching leaders, executives, helping them with their career development, with their leadership skills. So I always had this kind of sneaky little thought in the back of my head: what if I could just coach full time? And about a little over 3 years ago, I was just having a discussion with my husband about our future. What do we want to be doing? What are our goals? What do we want the future to look like? And he knew about this pesky little question I had, and he's like, why don't you just do it? Why don't you just do it? So I'm so thankful for his support. And really, that was what it came down to, was a decision that I was tired of asking the question, what if? And I wanted the answer, even if it meant failure, right? You mentioned failure a little while ago. Even if it meant the answer is, I tried it and I failed, I just didn't want to keep asking the question.
Totally.
So
And I think you have to,
Yeah.
failure is part of the process. But
Yeah.
two, also, I believe too, sometimes you have to pivot. Like, it might not work the way that you anticipated it working, but you pivoted
Absolutely.
into something and made it work. If I told you 15 years ago that I'd be doing this, I'd be lying to you. Like,
Yeah.
I never thought, like, I was the one that said I didn't want to have employees. I didn't want to have buildings and offices. And I just told you before that we have another office in management. So, and we're in the process of looking to expand it further. I never said, like 15 years ago, I was like, I just want to work for myself. I'm going to have a number of clients that I'm just going to help them and be almost like a fractional CMO, if you will.
Okay, yeah.
And I'm going to go into your business and I'm just going to help you with your marketing. I'm going to go talk to Andrew and his business, talk to him about his marketing, but not be the one who's doing all the marketing, kind of setting the strategy and letting someone else come in. Now we do all the building, we do all the design, we do all the
incredible.
printing. So, we have 20 something people that work for us. I never thought, like, when I look at that, like 15 years ago, that would be the way we went. But when I saw the need, and then people would say to me, oh, could you just do this? Can you just get it done? Blah, blah, blah. And all of a sudden we're like, oh yeah, we do this. We can do this. And, you make arrangements and you make partnerships and affiliates and people that can help you. And you don't have to be the one, but you're the guy that everyone calls. And then it's your job to get it done.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So that's how the name Wingman.
I think that's wonderful. Yeah, you expand your capabilities over the years, right? And I think that's a key difference with the corporate role is, like we said, there is a structure, and there's obviously you expand your skills and all of that, but there is that kind of structure that you're following.
And you can't always move
this
as quickly
is-
as you want.
Yeah, but this is always, we're always expanding our capabilities, expanding things that we like felt impossible at some point. Like I said, it was, if you would have told me even 5 years ago that I was going to have my own business and be out on my own, I would have said, you are out of your mind.
That's great. And now you couldn't even think about going back.
And now I'm here and I'm doing it. And like I said, I'm out of my comfort zone on a regular basis, but it is lighting me up. It makes me feel alive to do things that are scary.
That's so cool. So now, how do you get most of your clients?
I get most of my clients through referrals from past clients and or just my corporate network that I have. So I'm so grateful for that. I also post content on LinkedIn and on Instagram to show about my, just my own story and things that I think would be helpful for working moms. And then I also attend events and am
That gets you out of your comfort zone, too.
Absolutely. Yeah, kind of showing up in a room full of strangers.
People that you've never met before.
That's fun.
I actually find that great. Like, I like meeting strangers. It's new people, new perspective, people you've kind of never chatted with, and now all of a sudden you're having a conversation, and a lot of times people are looking for help in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah, what I really prepare myself for is, like, it's really not about me. I am I go to these events wanting to learn
Yep.
about other people, I'm curious about them. I have questions for them. And so that frame of mind helps me feel more comfortable.
That's great. And are you part of like any groups or like Latip or BNI or anything like that or?
So I'm part of the Monmouth Regional
Oh,
Chamber of
good.
Commerce.
Yep.
So I attend a lot of their events. They have amazing events all posted online. So always encourage entrepreneurs to be attending those. I've also just recently been exposed to this new group, not new group, for me it's new, Babes in Business. Some unbelievable events, and I've met some really great women there as well.
Awesome. And now, how do you like? So 3 years in, you have a nice referral business. Are you how? What's the expansion look like? How does the next 5 years look for you?
Oh, that's exciting to think about. I'd like to expand into, right now I do one-on-one coaching, so I'd like to expand into group coaching at some point, but I really love the one-on-one conversation,
Sure.
right? This is very comfortable. I
Are you
really
less
love
nervous than when we
to-
first started?
I am,
All
so
right, good.
thank you.
The
But
the nervous level's gone down.
the one-on-one conversations I feel very strongly about because I like to go deep. I like to, again, get very curious and help people kind of just go after their dreams. But I do see myself expanding into more group coaching programs. My biggest goal this year is to be more visible. So I'm looking for more opportunities to be on podcasts, excuse me, to do speaking engagements, webinars, or other group opportunities.
Perfect. I don't know that any podcast is going to be as fun as this one, but you give it a whirl. But I mean, again, I think that podcast is a great way to get out there, and there's groups that they're perfect because you meet people through the podcast. Like again, I didn't know Chris prior to him wanting to be on the podcast. Now I've met Chris. I've met his husband. He's great. I do some work for his new business.
Yeah.
You've come through it, so it's just a great opportunity to meet people. And like, I don't think Chris was here. We did for our 100th episode. We had a nice networking lunch, but there was at least 50 of the people that were on the podcast came back for the lunch.
That's amazing.
Now some of them are out of town, so they get a pass too. So we had a very good attendance, but it was a great. We got lunch. And it was a networking opportunity. But I love the idea of like the networking because I think that a lot of entrepreneurship. I think it's lonely. Like it's a lonely world because you can't talk to your employees about your problems. You can't talk to your competitors about your problems. Mm-hmm. So like there's a lot of things, and when you go home, you want to have a family life. So like it's a different world, and I think a lot of guys, especially small business owners, kind of don't know who to turn to talk to.
Yeah, and again, I think if you stay in that lonely space, you go into the like, oh, this is just something I'm experiencing. I'm doing something wrong.
Fair.
But really, when you talk to other business owners, they're like, oh yeah, been there, done that 1,000 times.
There was a guy early on. If you ever want to go back and watch it, Cliff Moore. He owns multiple businesses over his 30 years in business, and he says, you're not an entrepreneur until you don't make your mortgage payment 1 month. But it's just a different world. And I don't think that when I was in corporate America, I could never understand like some of these entrepreneurs and like guys I knew that owned a business. And, how do you not know this? How do you not know that? Until you get in it. And then you're like, that's how, because, there's so many things that are getting fired at you every single day that you don't have. When you're in corporate America, there's nothing but staff. There's recurring revenue in most of these businesses. So those struggles are gone. They don't exist. They're well capitalized. It's a different world than being an entrepreneur.
Absolutely.
But on the other side, I think that the hustle is part of the fun of it all.
I like I said, for me, it's been about building a new identity.
Yeah.
It's about letting go of this story that I had that I could never be an entrepreneur, that I was too introverted, too shy, that I couldn't talk about myself, and then just letting go of that and saying, I'm done with that story, and I am powerful. I have something to offer. I can help people really change their lives and create something that blows their mind, and people are waiting for this. I have to go help them.
That's awesome. What does the family think now that you're part of the club?
What do you mean the family?
Your family. Like, so you said your dad was an entrepreneur, your mom was an entrepreneur, your sister's an entrepreneur. Now that you're part of the entrepreneurial family, like how are they embracing the fact that you're on your own and doing it?
Oh, they're unbelievably supportive. I would say my dad in particular is incredibly proud. But they're all, I mean, I can't thank my sister and my mom and my husband enough. It's
So
overwhelming.
everybody's
It's,
kind of gotten behind you on this, and
I am absolutely overwhelmed with their support and so incredibly grateful because I for sure would have given up already had it not been for
yeah.
them.
And your daughters are gonna, as they continue to get older, they're gonna see like what this takes to do.
Yeah, I think particularly my older daughter and I share a lot of similar personality traits in terms of the kind of being on the quieter side, being more introverted, and so I think for her in particular, like I am fighting for her. And both of them, right? But I want them to see that it's okay to be scared. It's okay to not know the answer. It's okay to be outside of your comfort zone. Just go anyway. Just
Yep.
do the thing. Because if you have something, I believe if you have an idea in your heart, if you have something on your heart, it's meant for you. So you got to go get it.
I love it. What a great, I love this. This is awesome. So for all the listeners that are thinking about it, contemplating, wondering if they could do it, just do it.
Just do it. And you have the answers. You have the answers. Let yourself do it and let yourself do it imperfectly at first because you will figure it out and seek out support. Seek out other small business owners who have had the same experience. Seek out a coach who can really help you dive deep into the thoughts that you're having and the identity shift that maybe you need to have as well. But it's if it's on your heart, it's on your mind, just do it.
This was a great episode. I feel great. Let people know like where to find you if they're seeking this kind of help and coaching from you. Let people know if it's your website or if it's social media. Let people know where to find.
Yeah, so I am on LinkedIn, just Daniela Reiner. I'm also on Instagram at Daniela_Ironbound Coaching. Ironbound Coaching is the name of my company.
That's a great name.
Thank you. I grew up in the Ironbound section of Newark, so that's where I came from.
Oh, you come from a tough area.
Yeah.
That's great.
So I post a lot of content there that I think would be really helpful and valuable, particularly for working moms. And I'm also launching a free challenge in April where we're going to dive into your desires, your goals, and how to make them happen. So you can sign up by signing up onto my mailing list at ironboundcoaching.com.
Awesome. Thank you for coming in.
Thank you for
Thank you for
having me.
inspiring me and hopefully the guests today. And have a great day.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate this opportunity.
You bet.
Thanks, Tom.